Now that we are stuck at home, it's my mission to help educate and entertain you. We're going to educate you on your health, your happiness, your life goals, coronavirus, but we're also going to do it in a fun, entertaining way with my celebrity guests and friends. Today, we have a great special guest, Jilly Michelle Melean. She goes by JillyOnline. Jill Michelle was born and raised in Miami, Florida. She's best known for her role on MadTV, where she was the first Latina star on MadTV, and known for her role playing Drew Barrymore as well as other roles. She was also a cast member on Reno 911. I loved Reno 911. Did you guys watch Reno 911? I sound like Trump already. It's the best. It's the biggest show. She also has a cool film called This Is Meg, loosely based on her life and her unique friendships. She currently has a Netflix comedy special called White Latina. She also stars in a new production called Witness Infection, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. So with that, it is my utmost honor and privilege to welcome my really good friend, Jill Michelle Melean.
Yeah, look at the crowd.
I need to get one of those buzzers.
That's why all comics like to practice their jokes in the shower, because it sounds like clapping. Thank you. All the water. Thank you.
So you go by a lot of titles: actress, producer, writer, comedian. Which one do you identify most strongly with?
Well, I mean, they're different phases of my life, and now it's all kind of combining together. But mainly right now, my focus is mainly acting and writing and producing. Stand up, I still do. Like, I'll go out and do a big theater every once in a while, but I'm mainly focusing on that. I'm finding my voice more behind the camera, which is really great. I started directing recently, and I'm like, I think that's my jam. It's going to be, after this whole done, I'm going to be directing stuff. I'm going to be a female boss lady. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you grew up in Miami and of mixed heritage, Bolivian and Irish?
Yeah, Bolivian and Irish.
So you drink and then you can Bolivia. What does
and then I can Bolivia. They said, you're really, so you got any cocaine? And I'm like, no, I'm not Scarface. No, like, just stop.
You're not Cuban, but you do a great Cuban accent.
Well, I mean, and Bolivia is very known for the cocoa leaves and everything like that, which, I don't know if some people remember, but way back in the Bush administration, they tried to wipe out the cocoa plants in Bolivia because they were like, the cocaine was just, they were stop the war on drugs. And the Inca Indians were like, this is our medicine. You can't take that away from us. And there was this big, huge debacle, and they're fine now because they realized the cocoa leaf actually cuts the chemical and keeps people alive. Yeah. And cocoa, like when I was in Bolivia, they take a leaf, they stick it, if you have a toothache, they stick it in their mouth and it takes the toothache away. They have cocoa leaf tea if your stomach is feeling bad. I mean, it's kind of like our marijuana here in America. So
you take some cocoa leaves, or you're going through a divorce. If you have
exactly.
That's funny. So you say you're from Miami. Does everyone think you're Cuban?
Yeah, everybody thinks I'm Cuban. And then when I do speak Spanish, my father hates it because it's Spanglish and it's totally a Cuban. Like, oh, ¿cómo está? I'm good. How are you? Yeah, like he's like, oh gosh, because he has that beautiful Castellanos. He's like, where they think they're French. Yeah.
That's so funny. So funny. So were you always funny as a little kid, or how did you develop your comedy chops?
I think, I felt at a very young age, I realized that when you make people laugh, they leave you alone. So in tense situations, because I would get in trouble a lot because I can't sit still. So I just found this way of finding a way to make people laugh. And then I could see the power in that. Mm-hmm. And it was just something that innately I developed more and more because I used to watch like I Love Lucy with my grandma and the Golden Girls. And I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. Like, and to look at people like yourself and see you smiling, there's just this joy that overwhelms me.
I should be wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Social distancing. There you go.
The whole thing.
That looks like a thong. Was that
what? So you wear songs as masks? Like,
so you did some local acting there as a child in Miami, and then how old were you when you took the big plunge and moved out to LA?
I was really young. I was probably 22 when I came out to LA. I didn't know a darn thing. Like I pretty much, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I lived off credit cards for 3 years, believing in myself.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I didn't know a soul when I came out here. It was blind faith. It was more following my gut. I had scholarships. I had a scholarship. I had multiple scholarships, and I gave my mom an AA degree, but I was at a university, but I told them I can't stay any longer. I was going crazy. And so then I went over to Broward Community College and I said, here's all my credits. Can I get a piece of paper? And they're like, take physics and we'll give you the AA. And I was like, fine. So I did. And I gave my parents the paper and I was like, I'm out of here. And
wow.
They were like, oh, they bribed me. They were like, oh, stay and we'll get you a new car, which would probably be like a really crappy car. But I was just like, no, I got to go. And seriously, the first 3 years of living in Los Angeles, I cried myself to sleep every night because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was like, why do I have this strong desire to be here? And I don't know anyone. And I don't. So I started doing open mics with homeless people. Like I was just out there. And those 3 years of hard work and dedication paid off. And I got my first writing job on Nickelodeon. And then from there, I got MadTV. And I'm not saying like, oh, it's super easy.
How long did it take you? How long did it take you to go from open mics to MadTV?
3 years.
3 years. Okay. 3 years of living on credit cards and hustling. So what now we're kind of supposed to be talking about coronavirus. If someone had moved to LA to chase their dreams 6 months ago, what's their life like right now? Everything shut down, restaurants shut down. What are you seeing in LA?
It's LA, that there is a big, powerful movement of the social media because now all the casting directors, it started last week where the casting directors were like, oh, you know what? Send us auditions and you can do monologues or you can do whatever. And we're going to take those as generals now, which you could never get a general meeting anymore with the casting director. They had a short list of people and that's all the people they saw because they were so busy all the time because so much production was happening with all these streaming platforms. So that's why you kept seeing the same people over and over on all the shows.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was so fast. And now because they have this time, they're asking for these auditions and these self-tapes. And now people are being able to get seen, hopefully, that they'll look at all of them.
Wow.
And now they're creating a new roster. So then when we're ready to go back, there will be some new fresh faces or old talent that has been pushed off to the side. Once, I don't know if you guys remember, but like, I don't know, about 10 years ago, there was this merge of TV and film where the film stars were all coming to television. Mm-hmm. And it took away a lot of work from us that work on television that did a lot of guest stars. Now it was J-Lo doing a guest star, and we don't want Jill Michelle, we want J-Lo. And it was like, I'm like, she has money, leave her alone.
Feed us.
Because I was like, I need to eat.
So what did you do when you got the spot on MadTV? Did you celebrate? Did you like, haha, mommy, look? Or did you?
Well, it was that where your parents are seeing you on television every week and they're like, I believed in you from the beginning. From the beginning. I knew it. I know. You're like, no.
That's my baby girl.
Yeah. And you're like, you guys did not believe in me. You guys were telling me to come back and get married and have kids. Like, what? Yeah. So I did the exact opposite of the Latin tradition. And
what kept you going? Where was that passion from? What kept you going?
I think it is that feeling of making people laugh and entertaining people and seeing them escape from reality, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. There's such a joy that it brings to me. And I love it so much. It's not about fame for me. The fame is helpful because then you can influence more people and be more of a philanthropist and things like that, which I really want to do more work like that. But it's really about the work. I dive into the work, and I also forget about my own, reality, my 3-dimensional reality. For that moment, I am this character, and it's so much fun to play somebody else and then come back out of it. So I just, season, I think it's 7 and 8. If you're going through all like the old DVDs, I was there season 7 and 8. I was mainly known for Drew Barrymore. I was Jennifer Lopez, Britney Spears, and a ton of other characters, Penelope Cruz, like tons of other characters. You probably won't recognize me because I was always in wigs. And I have
one wig.
Yeah, like I call myself the Gary Oldman of comedy. Like I just transform, like, and then I'm like somebody completely else. Like this is Drew Barrymore. Like, guys, I'm so excited to be here. I mean, seriously. And then Brittany is this way. Oh yeah. Oh. So my face like morphs and changes. So
I saw Britney Spears in concert in Vegas, and it was a real big disappointment.
Really? I really wanted to see her, and I couldn't get down there. Oh, thank you so much, David. Yeah, you know what? It was very edgy. It was a really cool, edgy show. And I wish they would bring it back. I mean, they tried, but it was not the same show, for a minute there on CW. But that gang of people too is so incredibly talented.
The guy there, he would have been like a producer or something like that, named Lee Supersinski. Does that name sound familiar?
No, I don't. I know.
Oh man, he's a good guy from high school, and he worked on MadTV.
Oh, maybe a different year. It was on forever. It was how many years? 16 or something crazy? 20 maybe. I don't even remember. But yeah, it was a good time. It was like boot camp.
J-Lo, did you see J-Lo hanging on the pole at Super Bowl?
Oh, I did.
50 years old. Were you like
good? J-Lo. That's why even that Hustlers movie, it was like, just put it on mute. It's such a better movie.
Never saw it.
Yeah. It's a good mute movie because she looks hot. She's really hot, but the dialogue, not so great. Nah.
And then how did you get your Netflix special? That's interesting because a lot of people kind of break into Netflix, do alternative filming, like you said. How did you swing that?
I actually got a deal with Comedy Dynamics. So what I did was when I filmed that movie, This Is Meg, which is a very, very indie film, and that was off the fly. I had a friend of mine that this director named Alex Ferrari that I've worked with, and he called me and he was like, "Hey, listen, I've got the camera, I've got the crew, I've got I'll post." And he's like, "And I know you can write and you have all your friends." He's like, "Let's make a movie this summer." And I went, "Oh, okay." And so he goes, "I want it to be like about your life." And I was like, "Oh, well, I don't want it to be like stand up or whatever." I said, "But what's interesting is Los Angeles relationships, because the people in Los Angeles are so weird." Yes, I know Bobby Lee very well. Yeah, I worked with Bobby. He's wild. We've all seen his penis many times.
Yeah.
He likes to get on stage and pull his pants down a lot. So, but very fun. But anyways, what was I saying? I don't even remember. I mean, once you say penis, we can't.
Get back on track about how you got the role for Meg. This Is Meg.
Oh yeah. So after This Is Meg, which you guys should watch. It's very indie. I let scenes run longer to feel the awkwardness of living in LA. So you'll see like a scene should feel like it ends and then it just keeps going. But it's a lot of people from MadTV. Deborah Wilson, one of my best friends, is on that. Carlos Alice Rocky from Reno 911. He's in it as well. And you'll see a ton of like other people that you might recognize, like Jenica Berger and who else do we have? Oh, and Joe Reitman, one of my best friends. He was on the sci-fi show Happy, which you know, Doc, you know him. So anyways, but after that, I was like, hey, we still have the camera crew and everybody. And I've been working on my 1 hour for a while. Let's film it. I'm going to self-produce it. So I did. And I went to the Hollywood Improv. That's where I started. And they're like my family. And they're like, film it here. So it was cool because I kept it very intimate, and I wanted that feel because coming off of This Is Meg, it was so intimate as well. And I wanted it to feel really raw, like if you were in a comedy club as opposed to this big stadium, which everyone was doing.
Right.
And those are fun too. Like I love doing stadiums, but you don't really have to be that funny if you're in a big stadium. You know, everyone's just laughing. You know, you breathe and they're like, oh my God, yes.
Did you see the Kevin Hart special where he did Philadelphia Stadium?
Exactly. So you're like,
Huge.
I mean, you do one joke and the laugh has to go boom, 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 like out, out, out. So one joke could be, it's like a 5-minute bit, whereas in the comedy clubs, it's short laughter and it's immediate and you got to keep them bum, 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 bum. So I did that. And then I sold it to Comedy Dynamics, and then Comedy Dynamics put it on streaming platforms. So yeah, so you can, and it's white/Latina. So if you're searching, you can search it like that. But like it's on iTunes.
I saw it. It was really hilarious.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Really funny. So with coronavirus, and I remember they've shut down movie production for 5-6 weeks now, all the shows, everything. So what are you hearing from your friends who work behind the scenes, the camera people, the voice people? How are they doing?
I mean, the behind the scenes people, they're actually in a better position because they, coming off of those shows, they have more of a union that is stronger. And they're just in the waiting process. They're just waiting. I feel more for the actors because even though we have a union, it's not because of streaming, it's not the money it used to be. So we rely on the day-to-day, where the union behind the scenes, they get bigger paychecks. So they're more stable. Where us, we come in for guest stars, we come in for this, we come in for that, and every price is different. So that's why we work so much, and you see so many actors doing a million things because we can't just do one thing anymore unless you're a series regular on a television show. Then it's steady income.
So what are they doing during this time?
What am I doing?
What are people who are used to like little guest spots? What are they doing for income this time?
It's bad. Like I have to say, it's really bad. We're all just doing free auditions for the casting directors. We're lucky enough that if we do voiceovers, we're still doing voiceover auditions. My best friend Carlos Alzraki is a huge voiceover actor. He's Rocco and a million cartoons, and he has an actual studio built in his home. So he's able to still bring in voices and stuff. So he's lucky. But on-camera actors, we're really we're praying at this point, and we're keeping busy with our social media and keeping our fans engaged. And hopefully when we all go back from all of this, it can just pick up where we left off. But it's kind of scary when we think about it. We're trying to stay busy. We're trying to stay creative so we don't go into depression.
Yeah, I think that's important. Like I wanted to kind of highlight you and actors and actresses like you who are really just about the art form and the grind and making people laugh and keeping you guys relevant during this really hard time. Do you know anyone who's gotten sick from coronavirus or?
Well, it's funny because not funny. It's interesting. I'll put it that way. Because right before this became a popular term and what we knew what it was, I want to say it was literally 1 week before I got severely sick. And it wasn't, I don't get sick because I'm really healthy. I take tons of preventative care. I'm vegan. I really take care of myself. I work out every day. And I got hit with this thing that it started in my throat, and it felt like there was a butterfly in my throat. And I was like, I was at this event for the Academy, and I'm like, and luckily I carry tons of cough drops with me because I talk all the time. So I just kept popping cough drops, and the after party was going to happen. And I said, I need to call an Uber and get out of here. Like, I don't feel well. And I left, and the next day I was like, man, I still don't feel good. And then that night, I think it was Sunday evening, I was knocked out to the point for 10 days. I couldn't do anything. I felt like my head was going to explode. My chest was going to explode. I went to urgent care, and they were like, this is not the flu. We're going to just give you tons of drugs. And I was on 4 different types of medication. I didn't want to eat. I craved oranges. And I seriously, I had to rub my head at one point and have on the television, I put that frequency, that healing frequency, because noise was bothering me. I mean, everything was awful, and coughing constantly.
Wow.
And that cough stayed for 3 weeks.
Wow.
There was a cough for 3 weeks. So I don't know if I had it, because it was to the point where I would describe it and say to people, if I got this in the 1800s, I would have been dead. That's what I kept saying. I was like, this thing, whatever I got, this was horrible. I will play upon anybody.
Wow. Did you have a lot of body aches?
I had body aches. I mean, it was, when I say I felt like I was going to die, I did. I felt like I was going to die. And I had to do a lot of breath work, because I was like, to calm myself, because I wanted to go crazy. Like I wanted to burst out of my skin. That's how painful this whole process was. So I don't know, what, if I had it or not. I don't know personally anybody else that has been diagnosed.
No one likes you. You don't have any friends.
I have no friends.
I'm just kidding.
They're all robots, and they're all healthy.
That's so funny. So they're talking about opening up states now, and California has really done a good job of kind of blunting the curve. They didn't see a big explosion like what happened in New York City. What do you think about the possibility that they're going to be opening up California soon? Nervous, happy, excited?
I think all of the above. I am nervous, because I don't know what the new norm is going to look like. It's definitely not going to look like what it was. I don't think we're going to be shaking hands. I don't want to. I don't even want to hug somebody right now.
I'm a big hugger.
I'm such a huge hugger too. Like that's who I am. I'm that person. And I feel like I want to wear my mask everywhere. I do know that it looks like with the industry, I think they're going to, because they fired a lot of people. All the agencies, the management companies, they let go of tons of young agents and tons of young managers. So all the boutique agencies are closing up. So I have a feeling that when we go back, the casting directors will probably keep us doing auditions via, the internet, which I think is safe and smart.
New normal.
What's that?
A new normal.
A new normal. And we don't know exactly 100% of what it's going to look like. I mean, I don't even know for sets, if we're going to go back right away to production. I don't know. It's scary.
Sets. Oh, you said sets.
Sets. That's sex. Just sex, daily sex with random strangers. I just, might want to wear a mask. I'm just saying.
What was the movie with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes and Sandra Bullock, where the future cop comes back? Remember that?
Exactly.
And virtual sex. Is that where we're going?
Is that what's happening? But a question for you, Doc, is that I'm nervous to say, okay, they talk about these waves and everything. Would this thing ever go away? Ever?
So we live with coronavirus all the time. And this is a novel coronavirus, which means it's a new coronavirus. And so it's going to stay with us, kind of like chickenpox has been around forever. The real question is, will it mutate or will it stay stable? And as a class of viruses, coronaviruses generally are very stable. So So a vaccination against coronavirus should be helpful. Will it incur lifelong immunity like chickenpox does? We're not sure, but we're definitely headed for another wave of it. Just like, I mean, we know it comes seasonally like that. Every virus does. And so we might be hitting another wave in October, which, I mean, I'm not sure if it will shut down the country again, because we have a certain percentage of our population that have caught it, like probably you did. Mm-hmm. And that means that you most likely are immune to it. So we just don't know what that number is. Have you heard of herd immunity?
No. What's that?
That's where there's a certain percentage of the population that has been exposed to a virus and are immune to it, and confer what we call herd immunity, where people who don't have immunity to it don't get sick, because the people who are immune to it, when they catch it, they don't spread it, and the virus dies itself out.
Oh.
So it doesn't go rampant, it dies itself out. And so therefore you're protecting the rest of the herd who aren't immune. But we think that number, that percentage, is about 70% before you can have herd immunity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're going to require like everybody doing an antibody test to see if you've had it?
You know, I'm not in politics, but they're going to figure out a way to make sure that we have some sort of confirmation, right? Because the government could say, hey, y'all, you guys need to go back to work. But if somebody's high risk, they're nervous, they're scared, like, prove to me you don't have it, you know? Like, so it's one thing, and it's probably gonna be a long time before we go sit in like a dark movie theater with a bunch of people, or a sporting arena, or a big event.
And that's what I'm worried about too, is the gyms, you know, because it's
I want to go to the gym. Just you. It's only you there.
I know, I'm just gonna be there just alone. But it's like, you know, all the cycle studios where that was my jam. I loved, you know, being in those cycle rooms, and the only thing I can think is if we have like plexiglass in between each one of us, maybe that's the only way we can do it. But I'm fearful of the fact, like, you know, maybe if we did, like, I visualize sometimes, like, we do those swab tests to see if we have the antivirus, and then we can wear something around our neck that says, I have the antibodies, I am okay. Like Superman, you know, walk around.
Well, I think they did this in Korea, where they tested you and you had an app on your phone. Yep. And it could tell and you registered whether you tested positive or negative. If you were negative, then you could leave. If you tested positive, you had to stay quarantined. And if you left, it alerted the authorities and you got a fine. They can totally track you. So that we're going to be doing something like that. You don't be surprised if people check your temperature before you go into restaurants or events.
But can you go back to quarantine at home? You don't have to like stay in some location, right?
No, you go quarantine back at home.
Okay, that's okay. Because I was like, my dog. I gotta get my dog.
Your dog. Instagram is just about you and your dog.
Just me and my dog. I'm fine with my dog.
So you're working on a new project. What's your project?
Well, we just finished up Witness Infection, which is ironic enough that this is all happening with this infection. But this movie was about two rival mobster families from the East Coast. Our witness protection relocated out to the West Coast in Temecula, California, which is very suburban. And they happen to be right next to each other. And in order to keep the rival families alive, they've done this whole, like, you have to marry my daughter kind of thing. Meanwhile, the East Coast, there's another East Coast mobster family that needs to wipe them out, that hates both of them. So sends over an infected sausage truck with their favorite Tablione sausage, which is you can't find in the West Coast. So here comes this Tablione food truck over here, and they're all like, oh, Tabliones, I freaking love it. It's amazing. And they get infected through this Italian food. And through that process, they look almost zombie-like.
Yeah, so the pictures I've seen, like they're like zombies or something.
Yeah. So we created this look. Jim Ojala was our special effects makeup guy, fantastic special effects, and created like where it's like boils. that instead of looking like zombies, they have like boils coming out. And it was so much fun to make. And Carlos Alazraki from Arena 911, and he and I wrote the screenplay and produced it. And the cast are amazing. Aaron Hayes from Medical Police is in it. Again, Joe Reitman, Monique Coleman from High School Musical. I mean, the list goes on. Like, it's just Tara Strong. I don't know if people are big voiceover actors, but Tara Strong makes an actual appearance on camera, which is really cool. And she's beautiful and so talented. But we had a great time. We got to film at a winery up here, one of our friends' wineries, Vitagliano's. And it was such a cool experience. But now it's in the can. And we had just went to the Ha Festival to premiere it, which is a new festival that opened up. But because of Carlos and I's origin that we met through these people that produced this big festival, we met, almost 20 years ago there. Oh, and that's where we created our friendship. So we had this big, beautiful story wrapped around it. And HBO Max was the umbrella, and Warner Brothers Media. And we go, and we're all excited, and we're like, yeah. And they see it, and they're like, yeah, yeah. And then coronavirus. So it was like, oh my gosh. So right now, everyone's starting to get back into this new groove. And now they're looking at productions again that have been done to stream, because now they need content because the studios are closed. So now they're opening up their doors again for this. So we're in the next wave now, and hopefully we'll get a deal pretty soon. I'll be able to announce that, and then where you can watch it on streaming, because it's a ride. That's what this, if John Hughes made a horror film, that would be this movie.
That's awesome. Can't wait. What's it called again?
Witness Infection.
Witness Infection. And so we're waiting for it to get picked up and streamed. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
You're doing something on social media, some comedy thing or something?
Well, on social media at JillyOnline, you can watch my stories. I'm going to beef up more comedy on my stories and posts, because I realized this is the entertainment right now, and people can't come out to live shows and do things like that. So I'm going to actually, this week, I've already started to beef it up. So you guys can go over there at JillyOnline, and I hopefully make you laugh. And if I don't make you laugh, then just change the channel. I always say, when people like sit there and make mean comments, you're like, really, you have that much time on your hands to be, it's just, I know there's a lot of comics that I know that they're my friends, and I don't really like their comedy, but I get it. It's just not my thing. So, but I'm not going to sit there and be like, no, I don't like you. Every comedy's so subjective. So I feel like if people are a little bit more compassionate, just change the channel. Same thing with television shows. There's so many, the people are hating on different shows, and you're like, it's just not for you. Okay, then change it. There's a million channels, It's like, come on, everybody.
We have choices.
We have choices. Yeah.
Do you feel like, have you been reading about the coronavirus? Do you feel like you're up to date?
I'm somewhat up to date, because I won't watch television, the news. I will go online and get my news, what I need, and get off, because at the beginning I was watching too much. Yeah. And it was affecting me. I started to feel hopeless. I started to feel like this is the end of the world. I started to feel like, oh, why even bother getting out of bed? We're all just going to die. It was like, I'm dramatic. I was like, no, why?
And you wonder why you're single? Is that?
Yeah, my dog, just my dog and me.
Your dog, man.
Mr. Jack's like,
it kind of look like him.
Right? It does.
You also do dog impersonations, apparently. Is there a new impersonation you're working on?
I haven't really watched somebody to do an impression. But if you guys have, like, if you go, oh, do this, I'll totally watch it and do it for you guys.
All right.
Send me messages and stuff, because that's what I do. I mimic people very easily. So
I do too. And this sounds silly, but I can't seem to do Trump right. It comes up. You try to do your best Trump. Go ahead.
Me? Oh God, what's his saying that he always does?
we're going to help you strongly. I don't know. Like,
no, I gotta get you guys connected to Carlos because he does a great Trump. I do Sarah Palin when he does Trump. And
okay.
I'm just like, so guys, I tell you, these caribous are just running around wild now with this coronavirus. I tell you. Hold on.
It's the Russians.
I certainly do say, guys, that it's time that we really try hard to do the social distancing. I mean, I know y'all want to hug and stuff, but Dolly Parton, oh my God, yeah. Let's see, Dolly Parton. She's very, very. Wait, hold on.
Hold up the girl.
I just want to do anything you want to do, sweetheart. I'll watch her and I'll give you a Dolly Parton. I'll put that on my social media for you guys. So.
That was good. That was a good Sarah Palin. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I'll have to send you a link when I actually had my hair done and the proper glasses. And it's pretty scary. It looks dead on like Sarah. So I'll send that to you.
I've always had my dream to do, I can't do it for some reason, Christopher Walken, and I just can't. Everybody does a Walken.
Everybody does a Walken. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. It's a.
Come on, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I can't do it. I can't even know. I'm too busy. I'm so mesmerized by you.
You're so funny.
All right, let's do that. You want to play coronavirus quiz?
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see what I know.
Pass?
Yes.
All right, we'll start off easy. The coronavirus, the name coronavirus comes from the fact that the coronavirus looks like it's wearing a crown and not due to its main sponsor, Corona. That's my attempt at writing comedy. Not good. True or false?
that would be a false. That would be a false. No. And I like my Corona still. I just want to put that out there. I do love my Corona still. I will have you with some lime. Thank you. Thank you.
The next virus will be called Modelo virus.
Exactly. Dos Equis.
Dos Tres virus.
Or Bud Light. Bud Light virus.
So actually, yeah, the word corona means crown. And so
it's true?
Yeah, it's true. We missed the easy one. That was supposed to be the easy one. You really thought it's sponsored by Corona?
Wait, I thought you said it's not. So,
but its name comes from the fact that it has these little balls on it. It looks like the look of a crown.
Oh, okay.
That's coronavirus.
But I misunderstood then.
That's okay.
Misunderstood. But that's okay. It makes some good comedy though.
All right, next question. Coronavirus is an RNA strand, single RNA strand that is surrounded by blank.
An RNA strand surrounded by blank.
Yes.
Okay. How can I say this? It is surrounded by assholeness.
Someone made me spit in my vodka.
Correct, right? That's correct.
Assholeness. There's a lot of assholeness going on social media.
Assholeness. Mm-hmm.
False. I need a buzzer. We were looking for a phospholipid bilayer. Sorry.
Wait, say it again.
We were looking for a phospholipid bilayer.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that right.
Yeah,
We're gonna just go ahead and say right now we got 0 for 0. We got 0. But it will have a good time. It's gonna be 0.
You're gonna get this one right. True or false? Hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin has been shown to. I'm sorry. Hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin has been proven to be an effective treatment for coronavirus.
Yes.
We were looking.
They did say yes, didn't they?
No, not proven. And in fact, the CDC just took it off of its webpage. And it's actually saying there is no known treatment for coronavirus other than supportive measures. And so and this is very controversial, and I'm about to get a bunch of comments here on the page, but it's really true. If you're dying, should you take it? I guess so. Like someone's like, Dr. Vuong, if you're dying in the ICU anyway, why not take it? Okay, right. I guess so. But reality is the way the medicine works, it stops the virus from using the cell's replication mechanisms, so it can't make more copies. But if the virus is already everywhere and now you take it, it's not going to help. So you really should take it early, and even then it might not work. We're not sure. The problem we're running into, am I boring you?
No, because what I meant to ask,
we're on a first date. You're like,
well, I'm because that's why every day is something new. Because I had just read that they're like, oh, now we're treating people with this, and it's
people are getting, trying to take it, et cetera, et cetera. It's just confounding the data. That's the problem we're coming into. Like, we can't run good studies,
right?
Because a lot of people are calling their doctors. They're getting started on hydroxychloroquine. So it's really confounding the numbers. We don't really know. There aren't any good studies. I don't care what the press tells you. The doctors we're doing it. I mean, based on early reports, if you're sick in the ICU, they're giving it to you, but there's no good studies that show taking it's going to help you prevent it or treat it if it's early,
Yeah. I mean, it's just, there's so much, no one knows anything. What even about lemon warm water? My father is lemon warm water. You have that every day.
Okay. Jill Michelle, next question. Jilly, true or false? Taking vitamin C will help you prevent coronavirus.
And that comes back to the lemon water. I've heard lemon water and vitamin C are preventative care. So that's what I've heard. But according to you, everything is false. So I'm going to go with false.
So it's false. Good job. You got one right. We were really I really wanted to make this a drinking game. So if everyone gets out of Corona. So
well, we could do that in the daytime, whatever. It's nothing else to do. Every hour is happy hour. So.
Yeah, so high doses of vitamin C have not been shown to be effective for most things, quite honestly. High doses, you'll just pee most of it out. We are using it when patients are sick in the ICU. We are giving them vitamin C, and because it really clears up oxygen radicals. Anyway, yeah.
So that's what does clear.
Libertarians, those radicals.
Those radicals, I tell you, they're radicals.
Those rebellions. All right. True or false? True or false, Jill Michelle? Loss of smell and taste is an often complaint with coronavirus infection.
True.
That is true. Yeah.
Oh, that was wild.
2 in a row. Yeah. So a lot of patients are reporting loss of smell and taste, and it's interesting because a lot of people don't realize that actually taste is like 75% smell. So, and remember, the virus affects us up in here, so it's easy to understand how it affects the oral. The olfactory bulb.
It's interesting though.
Bulb inside of you, girl.
But it's interesting because even when you have the flu, you lose a lot sometimes the taste and smell when you have the flu, right?
Yep, you can. All right.
Oh, this is such a tricky virus because it's so similar to the flu, but
then symptoms are, but now it's starting to behave very differently than other flus, other influenzas. It's behaving differently than pneumonia and ARDS. So I have my video that went viral has got 15 million views. It was describing ARDS and how coronavirus kills you through ARDS. And now we're actually seeing it's behaving slightly different type of ARDS. It's not that stupid high altitude sickness that somebody posted or, it's not that. It's not that. It's acting very differently. So let's do some controversial things.
Okay.
Do you think that the virus was made in a lab?
This is something all my friends and we've had many conversations about this. I want to say yes. Just because it's when you break it down and you're like, oh, it came from an animal, which I'm happy that if you want to say an exotic animal, great. Stop eating exotic animals. Okay. So that's a good thing that's come out of this, hopefully. The cross-contamination is just awful. And the lack of respect for life is just terrible. So I hope that that awakens some people to understand that the circle of life is cause and effect. So if they want to believe that, great. But as far as, because I'm looking at all where the viruses have all sprouted up, and it's not just in one centralized location, it's all over. And it's mainly in these elderly homes and things like that, that I can't help but think that it's this, the stronger will survive. And it's like wiping out the weak. And it's heart-wrenching, but it's something we're all talking about constantly. Me and my friends, like, we get on Zoom and we're all like with our cocktails and our Corona, like, yeah, I think that's a controversy. Like, we're just.
I need a disclaimer, legal disclaimer, like the views and opinions expressed on the show or the
right, exactly.
yes, they're not of Dr. V's.
They're not fact. They're made up.
About a month ago, if you had asked me, I would have said, no, they've tracked this down. And this is what most experts would have said, was that we've been able to trace the mutations in its RNA, and we're sure it came from bats and crossed over in this market. But there's so much conspiracy now out there talking about how this might have come from a lab tech spread it, got sick, So now I don't know what to know. So next controversial question. Do you think China knew about it and purposely let it spread?
Do we know that it's really where it originated, though? Like,
let's just assume it came from China.
Okay, so we're assuming that it came from China. And then, listen, I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, just come on. Look at our politics. I mean, it's just, they do stuff that, a lot of us, even going back to 9/11, we sit there and we say they knew, and it had to happen in order for X, Y, and Z to happen too, that they knew was coming and they had to take the hit. So I wouldn't put it past anything that we don't know anything. Just like even we were talking earlier about TikTok, and we're saying how if you get on TikTok, they know all your data, they know everything like that. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. And it's just like, even our phones with the tracking devices and all of the cameras, and my Alexa likes to talk to me randomly, and I'm like, yo, I wasn't talking to you. Like, I'm like, and I'm just like, what are you trying to listen into? Like, I'm making jokes, and when I'm rehearsing lines, I'm not really killing somebody. Okay, it's the lines I'm rehearsing. Like, stop.
When I first got my Alexa, I was so excited. This was about a year ago. I was so excited. I was telling it to do all this stuff. And one day I came in and I said, Alexa, I really love you. And she goes, thanks, Duc, but I don't feel the same about you. We are just. She did. She friend zoned me.
She put you in the friend zone. I'm sorry.
It was probably made in China.
Yes. Your Alexa's racist.
I know. Alexa's racist.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, we can't. It's hard to, in the perfect world in our brains, like, we believe what we believe is our reality, and it just doesn't. I can't. It's like Einstein says, if he can't break it down, then it's the I don't know. And that's the thing, is like, we can't really break it down. We can't really pinpoint it. We can't find that equation that fits perfectly. So it is this I don't know. So it could be anything. So it can be a conspiracy. It can be a way to control our population. We were getting out of control. I mean, if you think about the airports and the lines in the airports, and how packed the airports were, and how they were raising our prices like ridiculous. Like, to go see my family in Miami was $700 round trip, and you're like, good God, like, it was just. And then during Christmas time, we control you, and now it's $1,500 to go. No. And now it's empty, and I just go, it's a triangle. Everything is a triangle. And the politicians, and all of the money people are here. And then the majority of us are the foundation. And if they don't take care of us, they will fall. And I feel as though we're not being taken care of. And that's why this political system is starting to fall. And we're now having a bigger voice because the people are now becoming more in charge. And you're finding this, just even with the giving us, stipends and the money and seeing how all these corporations are starting. It's like, I don't know. I really, when you have all these things that are happening, it's hard to say, was this lab created or was this, from our environment that the planet was like to stop?
Last risky question for you. Do you think Trump's going to get reelected? Over or under?
Let me say, I hope not. That's what I just have to say. Sorry, I have a lot of people.
For all of you, I don't really care.
I have a lot of friends that are Trump supporters. I have a lot of friends that are not Trump supporters. And I just say, I just hope not. So I'm going to leave it at that.
So, you will.
Yeah. I mean, I like people that are respectful to others. And let's just go right there from that place. I just, that, and to be our spokesperson, that's not who I think America is. I think we're more compassionate people, and we're more about creating relations and positive relations in order to make this world a better place. Because of course we're going to have bad things. That's what allows us to know what we want and to focus on more of what we want. But to be just nasty to people and be our spokesperson, I'm like, that just doesn't make me feel good. That's why I don't watch the news. I haven't watched the news since he got into office. So I've never put president and his name together in this whole time.
Trump.
He's just Trump. He's the apprentice guy. That's I liked him on that show.
I love that show. I thought about going into dropping out of residency and just taking a year off of residency, applying for apprentice.
Yeah, you should. You should. That would be fun. I'd love to see you on it. That would be so good. Oh, what do you think? What's your thoughts on that?
I'm not political. I don't really care, but I think he'll get reelected.
You think so?
I think he'll get reelected. Yeah, I'm not expressing how I'm vote or not vote.
No, I'd like to hear because
I think he'll get reelected. Yeah.
Why?
Because I think his supporters are very fanatical. And I think the Democratic supporters are too lackadaisical. So, and I think that he is very good at grabbing attention and having his name being spoken. I mean, we've spoken his name so many times, and I'm about to say Joe Biden once. And I just said it.
Well, I mean, if you've worked with any psychotherapists and sociopaths, which there's a lot of them in Los Angeles because of the entertainment business, you can recognize them really quickly. And they're very powerful and they're very manipulative, and they have a lot of people that they can influence. So I see that from that perspective of people thinking he's wonderful. But I hope not. I hope you're wrong. But we'll see. Either way, I'm still here.
Until he deports you back to Mexico.
I'll go back to Mexico. Okay. So, but again, it's like, I am not a political comic, nor do I want to be. That is totally up to whoever, what their beliefs are. For me as a human being, and what we can do is just be good people to others. So whatever's happening up there, we can work on the day-to-day and just spread a little laughter and a little bit of ease on all the stress, and especially during this time.
That's awesome. Well, it's been a great having you on, Jill Michelle.
It was awesome. Thank you so much. You still haven't answered my question. What about lemon water? Are we okay with lemon water? Does it kill? Does the heat kill? Does the heat?
The heat won't kill it, but what it does is it will wash it off your mucous membranes. But that means you got to be drinking it constantly for that.
I see. Okay. The only way is stay healthy, stay social distancing, wash your hands.
So let me put it this way, since you're so good with biology, can't, technically speaking, you can't kill the virus. Do you know why?
Why?
It's not alive. This is where science is kind of weird, but also really cool. All it is a piece of RNA. Mm-hmm. In this case, it's RNA. It can be DNA. And all it is surrounded by a fat layer. That's why washing your hands work, because you're breaking down that fat layer.
Okay.
That's all it is. It has nothing else in it. It's not thinking. So bacteria is defined as a life form. It's alive. But viruses are not alive. They are just this little fat bubble with a little piece of DNA or RNA in it. And it's just traveling throughout the air. And then it gets into a host body, it invades the cell, and then it uses the host replication machinery to make copies of itself. How it knows to do this, it's just random chance. It gets into it, it binds to the receptor in the cell, uses its host machinery to make replications of itself, and it pops out through the cell, kills that cell.
Whoa.
And then it moves on to the next thing. And so the host then like sneezes, coughs, whatever, spreads into a droplet, the virus into a droplet, or in the case of HIV, it would be body fluids, blood, things like that. But in this case, it's an air droplet. And then that air droplet goes 6 feet. So if you're closer than 6 feet, if we're making out with your boyfriend or your loved one, and you know you're going to exchange the virus. But if they're not there, then the virus goes out in the air and it goes and lays down on a surface, and it sits on that surface for a few hours, up to maybe a day or 2 days. And someone picks it up, touches their face, it repeats the cycle again.
Wow.
Yeah, but if nobody touches that surface, and if nobody's within 6, 7, 8 feet, and that droplet just dies, it's just the lipid bilayer, the fat cell, will just melt away, kind of like bacon grease, or would just break down. And
then the reason why there's some people that get really, really ill, and then some people that just get flu-like symptoms, is because of their immune system.
Yeah, so there's two components. You have the actual virus, and then you always have the host and the response. And one, we don't know much about this virus other than its class of coronavirus. And then the host also depends on age, comorbidities, obesity, high blood pressure, how sick you are, how healthy you are. And when those two come together, how much virus, we call it the coronavirus. It's like you're getting one virus. No, when you get infected, you have millions of viruses inside of you, right? So it's a lot. So what's the viral load? Like, how big of an exposure did you have?
Got it.
Combined with how healthy were you to begin with?
Okay.
Right? And how close proximity. So, Jilly was probably macking with somebody.
But my immune system was good, so I just was out for 10 days.
Right.
Wow. So there's really
multiple factors on how
so many and then the virus will just die within you naturally. If let's say if I had it and I got better naturally, just at home,
your body overcame it, or it ran its course, etc. There's also some science that's not that interesting, but I'll tell you.
I like it. All interesting. I tell folks, you tell me facts.
So you've heard of cytokine storm?
What's that?
Cytokine storm?
No. What is this?
It's the latest Marvel X-Men movie.
Oh, no, I haven't. Tell me.
I'm kidding. It sounds like a superhero character.
It totally does.
Cytokine storm. She's all hot, leather, index. So it's where your body puts cytokines, are immune modulators that kind of help you fight off infection, that calls the fighter cells there to fight off the infection. And the cytokine storm is when you kind of have an overabundance and overreaction. And so these cells come in and they start killing the bad guys, but it also kills a couple of the good guys. And so it overwhelms your body, and then your body ends up going into sepsis. And so there's some studies from early 2000 that kind of looks at what causes cytokine storm. And that appears to be, there seems to be a genetic component, a DNA component. Yeah, so some people are unlucky and they're more likely to carry the genes that result in an overwhelming immune response.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's why sometimes you see these, you hear stories of younger people in their 30s and 40s dying from coronavirus because they're
genetically screwed.
Possibly plus a load, plus stress levels, all sorts of comorbidities. So
with the mask, are we still able to be exposed to it with the mask?
I kind of like this. I would like having my guest interview me.
I'm sorry. I was just like, I have so many questions for you. And these are the questions my friends and we've been discussing. And I was like, I'm going to get him on the phone. I'm going to ask him.
So the mask. Yeah. So wearing a mask probably will not help keep you from catching it. Okay. But what it will do is obviously muffle the distance if you sneeze or cough, keep you from spreading it.
Oh, so it's more if you had it, then it will prevent it. Okay.
Yeah, so it'll probably keep it from spreading. But you know, people sit there and wear masks inside their cars and all sorts. I'm like, why? It's kind of weird. You know, you should know. You wrote a movie about these zombies coming.
It's a little different.
Like a zombie to a virus.
It's so true. That'll be my next one. Oh, well, what we'll have to do is we'll have to work, Duc, we'll have to work on a cartoon of everything that you just said, because I think it's genius how you described it. And I could visualize it as a cartoon in my head. And I was like, how many people we could educate that way? Because when you just talk about it, people are like, huh? But, you know, you show them in some kind of a cartoon how it can go in and just, it's just like, yeah, like this is.
Did you watch my video on how coronavirus kills you?
Yeah, I shared that one.
Some people love the pimp reference. The pimp is holding your head in the toilet water. How long? Some people are really offended. One person was like, "How dare you make fun of people who have pimps, and they're stuck in this social situation? You should be uplifting them." Really?
So I can't make no money out here anymore.
Uplift a hooker to break away from her pimp. Okay.
Exactly. Well, those poor hookers, they're not working either. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So people like that video because they could understand how the ARDS works, the fluid inside the lungs and stuff like that. So yeah, I would love to work with you and create something like that.
I'm such a visual person. So, you know, for me, and when you sent that video to me, I was just like, oh my gosh. And I sent it to everybody because you get it. Whereas, you know, when you watching the news sometimes and they're speaking so stoically, you know, I check out because my ADHD, I'm like, well, there's bird, you know, squirrel. Yeah, exactly. But you were like, you had visuals and you described it so eloquently. And so I just really just like normal terms, but still throwing in your little doctor terms there, you know, getting all smart and stuff, you know,
prove
showing your degree, you know.
Yeah, this is awesome. Degree. I got it off Amazon. Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna get one.
Credit at Kinko's. So last question, Jilly.
Yeah.
Do you really think that laughter is the best medicine?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for all those people out there too that are all missing their fillers and their Botox, laughter also makes you look younger too. Yes. Yeah. I think laughter is the best medicine. Just why we are vibrational beings. And the minute you're like this, you notice how everything starts to do this if you're upset. But if you're laughing, you're lighter and you're vibrating on a higher frequency and you're attracting more positive things into your life on that frequency. So I say, stay laughing. And if you can't laugh and you can't find laughter right now, then go out and there's tons of great things. Yes, laughter, Carol. There's tons of great stuff on the internet now. Every comic, we're all throwing out really great content to make you guys laugh because we really do realize that laughter is the best medicine. That's why we had comedy clubs in the first place. It was so you guys would work these jobs and then come to us. And he says, but you can laugh permanently with enough. Yes, you can stay frozen too with a lot of Botox. So. That's so fun. But yeah, stay laughing when you feel depressed. It does boost the immune system. Laughter does.
We have studies that show that now.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think laughter does bring positivity. Absolutely, all these things are beautiful. You guys know, and just keep doing it and watch the news and listen to Duc, but then get back to laughing so you have the education and the knowledge, but come back and then vibrational. Yeah, red, so good, exactly. Your people that watch, they're on it. They know,
man.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one. Oops, hold on. Carol Burnett.
Oh, Carol Burnett. Yes. And she's also streaming on Netflix now too. So you can watch the old Carol Burnett shows, which was one of my favorites growing up. So I got to meet her and I was like, oh my God, so great. But yeah, just keep laughing. That's what I'm doing. And even as comics, we pull from the most tragic events and that becomes our best jokes because people can relate and people, it's a universal laughter. And especially with what's going on, we all know the facts. We're all listening to the news. So might as well break away and make some jokes about it for a little bit, not to be disrespectful, but, to actually make some kind of a light out of the situation.
Absolutely. Definitely makes you feel better. So you had 600 people watching, Jilly. So can you tell these people where can they find you if they want to hook up with you? Not that's a bad use of
we can virtually hook up. I'm on social media at JillyOnline.
Are you on Christian Mingle? Are you on
eHarmony?
What was that farmer one? Country Farmers?
Farmers.
There's a farmers one. There was a farmers for hooking up with farmers. Yeah.
That's awesome. That is good. I'm going to hook up with some growers.
Yeah. So what's your social media handle? How do they find you?
At JillyOnline, JILLY online. All over social media, it's at JillyOnline. I'm not too active on Twitter. I'll go on there just to read stuff because people are kind of mean. Yeah. So, but I love Instagram. I love Facebook. I'm more Instagrammy. And then I will get on TikTok and the Chinese will own me. So
you're going to become a communist.
I will be. There's
all right, Miss Jilly, it was great having you today. I've had you for over an hour. You've been very generous with your time. Thank you so much. I just want to take this moment to honor you and tell you how much I respect you and what you're doing, how you started from with just a dream as a young girl by yourself, moving out to LA, living for 3 years on credit cards and just hitting the comedy scene and working your craft and crafting your skills until you got that position on MadTV, Reno 911, and now you have your own Netflix special and producing and directing your own movies. It's really amazing. You're really a testament to the American spirit. And I truly agree with you. Laughter is the best medicine. You're one of the biggest laughs out there. You're amazing. You're super funny and beautiful human. And I wish only the best upon you.
You're going to make me happy cry. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm so honored to have met you and we connected. And now what you're doing and spreading this knowledge to everyone is so important. So thank you. And thank you for answering my silly questions.
All right. Bye, Miss Jilly.
Bye.